What is going on, guys, and welcome back to today's video. My name is Will and you're watching Will's Weekly Fantasy. In today's video we are going to be talking about injury updates and what you should do in them for fantasy, what they mean for fantasy, and how, maybe who you can pick up. So let's get it started. First off, we're going to have the 49ers running backs. Just about every 49ers running back has gotten hurt this year. Raheem Mostert, already out for the year. JaMycal Hasty, an ankle. Elijah Mitchell, his shoulder. Trey Sermon, a concussion. So, at this point, we have to expect that Elijah Mitchell is still going to be the starter if he is available. So please, if he is still available in your league, pick him up. And it might be a good idea if they are available. If you have an open bench spot that you just really don't care about, you can pick up a Trey Sermon if he's available, or JaMycal Hasty for your bench, just in case, something turns bad. I think that wouldn't be a bad idea for the 49ers running backs. But we do expect at this point that Elijah Mitchell, if he is playing, is going to be the starting running back. So, now we're going to go to the Chicago Bears and Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton obviously got hurt, and this might be a better thing for fantasy because nobody was starting Andy Dalton, right? Allen Robinson, obviously, will get a bump up. And David Montgomery will probably get a bump up with Justin Fields there. And I feel like this also really helps out just Justin Fields, right? If he's still on your waivers in any of your leagues, I'd advise you to pick him up now, because we don't know exactly how long Andy Dalton is going to be out, if he's going to be playing next week, if he's going to be playing in 2 weeks, if he's going to be sat for Justin Fields after this. We don't know. But we do know is Justin Fields is probably going to get a little more looked at now. And, Fields is just that good, right? He got picked 11th in the draft. If you watched him in college, you know how good he is. He honestly has the ability to be a top 10 fantasy scoring quarterback every single week because he is just that good. He has that skill set. And I feel like that also just really bumps up the value that you get in Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson, right, and in David Montgomery. I feel like he really helps out those guys more because of his skill set. So yeah, definitely look for Justin Fields if he is still available in your leagues. Next up, we're gonna have Tua. Tua bruised his rib, right? We don't know exactly how long this is gonna be, but we do have to acknowledge that Jacoby Brissett is not as good of a quarterback as Tua, and that's definitely going to take some fantasy value away from the players around him. Mike Gesicki, right? Myles Gaskin. Jalen Waddle. They're all going to have fantasy decreases, so I really feel like that the only viable starter in that offense is going to be Jalen Waddle, because Myles Gaskin is just not as talented as Jalen Waddle, and I feel like Jalen Waddle is going to still be a big part of that offense and still get a decent load of the offense with Jacoby Brissett being there, but I just don't know if Myles Gaskin you can really trust as a flex option at this point. I feel like you would rather have Jalen Waddle or just someone else, unless you're in a 14-team league or a 12-team league and you don't really have that much other options. So yeah, now we are going to go on and look at Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, we know his injury now is not going to be season-ending or bad in the long term, which is great to hear for fantasy, because last week he had a touchdown, got 12-some fantasy points, 13, only had 36 yards though, I believe, and for only having 36 yards, getting 12 points, right? That's really good. This week, he went for 100 yards, over 100 yards, had 9 receptions. He looked really good, and he looked like a big part of the Steelers' offense. So I expect him to just keep cranking out that load. Now, if he doesn't play next week, obviously that's not going to be fun, but it's better than him being out the whole season. So great news to hear from that. Jarvis Landry sprained his MCL, but with OBJ still out, right, and not knowing exactly when both of them are going to come back, Jarvis Landry or OBJ, there's going to need to be some other receiver that steps up, right? So you're going to be looking at a Rashard Higgins or Donovan Peoples-Jones or just, one of those two guys just to step up and maybe be a flex play as long as Landry is out. I feel like Rashard Higgins has been in that offense longer, and I feel like he probably is the better wide receiver at this point. But if you are looking for, maybe a flex option, as long as Jarvis Landry is out, they might be a viable one if you don't have anyone else. So I would say that would be a good play to pick them up off waivers. So once again, I would just like to thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next one.